Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great day. Today is a special day because if you watch some of my previous videos, I mentioned that in addition to my X5M replacement car, I also bought another new car. And this time, not a BMW, but a Porsche. That's right, I've bought an '06 Porsche Boxster. This is actually a family vehicle, so I'm going to show you around and I'll give you the backstory on this car. So yes, this is my new car. This is the first Porsche I've owned. This was previously owned by my dad. He just recently sold it to me. So this is an '06 Porsche Boxster. I believe it's the base model. Has a flat 6 engine. I believe it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 240 horsepower. So this is an '06, but is in still great condition as it only has 40,000 miles on the odometer so far. So still runs great, still drives great. I've actually got an appointment to take it to the Porsche dealership here in Kansas City tomorrow. So just to do an oil change and make sure we're keeping up with kind of the Porsche recommended service and maintenance on this Boxster. So as I said, I bought this car from my dad. He bought this back in '08. I think he was about the third owner. By the time he bought it, I believe it only had a few thousand miles on it. So he's put most of that 40,000 miles on over the year. Believe it or not, it still looks pretty good. This car has spent most of its life on gravel roads. My dad is a farmer. He bought this and had it out on the farm for most of its life, but still in pretty good condition. So I would say this car is actually where my love of German cars and where I've branched off into BMW now. I grew up in central Kansas in a very small town. There weren't BMWs and Porsches around. So when Dad got this kind of became kind of the special occasion vehicle. If he had a big day or something, he'd let me drive it. And I've really always enjoyed and admired this car. Once he offered it to me for sale, I jumped on it, no hesitation. So I haven't shown you guys the best part of this yet. And if you look inside here, it is a manual. So this car, compare it to the M4, is super engaging to drive. The M4 is super fast. It's got a ton of tech. It's a huge vehicle compared to this. I mean, just kind of look at proportions of these cars. That's massive compared to this. This with the manual is a very engaging experience. Now there's no tech. The car is not doing anything for you like the M4. It's not that fast. As you can see, the interior is still pretty good condition. I changed out the mats, just give it kind of a good wipe down, and she's looking pretty good. This being a manual is probably the best part about this car. The flat 6 sounds really good. You can see I've got it here on a trickle charger. I'm going to have them check out the battery just to make sure we're all good there when I take it in for service. This one comes with the Bose stereo system, but guys, I'm gonna have to pull out my CD collection because this has a CD player. No Sirius XM or anything like that. You can see I added a little mount up here to hold my phone for nav as I'm trying to get around. So as I've said, the car's still in pretty good shape. Here's what I've done so far. I gave it a good wash and clay barred it just to get some of the contaminants off the paint. I don't think it's had a good detail in a while, but just that alone brightened it up quite a bit. So the most noticeable improvement I've done so far is this came from the factory with like a little paint protection film and just like a little triangle in front of the wheel here. As you can see, it has kept the paint in really good shape, but over the years that turned yellow and it was all cracked up. So getting the film itself off was pretty easy. But it did take quite a few passes with some auto glue gun to get all of the glue and stuff off of there, but looks really good. I did that on both sides. I'm still trying to get the last of the glue off of the other side. And then that was the last kind of thing I was doing to get the paint ready to polish. I don't know how much of a difference you can tell, but I went through and polished the back end already, and it looks really good for the age of the car. I mean, there's a few minor scratches and stuff, but if you're standing 5 feet away, it still looks really good. So I've been having a lot of fun with this as a just kind of a little project car. Once I get it all cleaned up, it's going to look really good. You know, thinking about maybe a few updates to make on the interior. If you guys have any suggestions on kind of easy fixes. I mean, outside it looks great. Interior is of course dated. I mean, it's an 06, of course it's going to be a little bit dated. It's a little weird driving a car without a backup camera these days. Yeah, super excited. I got a chance to purchase this. Needless to say, I'm not hauling kids around in this. I'm just you know, taking this out and having fun with it. So yeah, loving this so far. As I mentioned, I'm a big admirer of the Porsche brand, and this is my first Porsche that I've owned. So gonna enjoy this one and kind of get it all sorted out, and I will keep you guys updated with the process along the way. So as I said, I'm getting this in for service tomorrow. I think the next video on this, I will take this out and do a little bit of drive and just kind of let you guys hear the engine. The noises it makes is probably the best part of this car. It's not like super fast, but it sounds like a lot faster car than it is. Alright guys, it's a couple days later. I've got the Boxster in the shop with Porsche to get the service done. But while I had it, I wanted to show you guys my loaner, just to show you guys the difference between an 06 Porsche and a 2023 Porsche. So this is a 2023 Macan. I believe it's the base model. It's got the inline 4-cylinder engine. I'm not super familiar with the Macans, but I would have to say the design and the style of this is beautiful. I love how it looks. Wheels are really nice. Those are nice and big. See the giant black brake calipers you get in there. But yeah, I would have to say the looks on this car are, you know, 9 out of 10. I love how this thing looks. It's definitely a beautiful car. Then going inside the car, all of the materials are like super nice. All the buttons feel really good. The gauges are cool. Everything's very Porsche. I like the little clock you get in the center. Let me hop in and turn this on real quick so you guys can see. Turn that down. So this is pretty cool. I know the old ones had just like a ton of buttons. Now it's all just kind of built into these little screens here. So sport mode, that's an important one. So you got your gauges up here. I like how this is partially analog and partially you get a digital gauge over here. So I think that's pretty cool. I did that. Nice big screen here. Everything in the controls feels really good. It's got like a nice little all the buttons have a nice little like clicky feedback, which is cool. So if you're familiar with this channel, you know the most important thing to me is driving experience, and I think that's where this car falls just a little bit short. Now granted, this is a base model, so I think if you got a GTS model, those are a little more driver focused, probably a little bit more fun to drive. I can say after driving this thing home yesterday, I did not want to get back in it and drive it yesterday. I wasn't looking forward to driving it, so that tells me it's just really not all that exciting. So the inline 4-cylinder engine, I believe it's somewhere around the neighborhood of 260 horsepower. So I feel like it's lacking quite a bit in power if you're going to go with the base model. I was pretty disappointed with it. I guess I was expecting a little bit more from, granted it's a base Porsche, but it's still a Porsche. The sticker on this thing, I believe it was right around $73,000. So for something like this, that's pretty darn high. So steering felt good. The suspension to me felt a little bit floaty. I'm wondering there may be some driving mode adjustments you can make, but didn't dig too far into that. So yeah, that's the loaner they got me while my Boxster is in for service. Great looking car, just not all that fun to drive, in my opinion anyways. So they've had my car for about 24 hours now. They're doing like a full service. Just got the call that it's ready, so let's go ahead and pick it up. All right, just got my car back from Porsche Service Center. You can hear the car is quite loud, and now I know why it's so loud. I'll get to that in a minute. So what I had them do at the service center was just like a full 40,000 mile service. They did a full inspection. So basically they replaced basically all of the air filters, the cabin filters, flushed all the fluids, changed the oil, all that good stuff. So along with the service, they also did a full inspection. And for a 2006, it had a pretty clean report. The only thing, really two major things, and one I was expecting, one not a surprise, but it's not that big of a deal either. But the reason why it's so loud is there is, I guess, a gap in the exhaust. I guess around the header, some of those bolts rusted out, so they're going to have to order parts, go through and replace those. So they haven't fixed that yet. They're in the process of getting parts ordered. The other issue they found is the tires need replaced, which I was expecting to do that anyways. I want to put more of a summer tire on this thing. What was surprising about that part is I didn't know how old the tires were. I guess Porsche recommends you change the tires every like 6 years. These were, I think the fronts were from 2008 and the rears were from 2012. So yes, definitely time for replacement there. So got a new set of tires ordered, and just whenever all those parts and the tires get in, I will drop this back at the service center, get another loaner, and that should be it as far as just kind of getting this thing sorted out initially. Yeah, but they said they added like fuel additive, and because of the exhaust leak, the air filter was really plugged up and dirty. So they said just doing that alone should notice a little bit more power coming back to this thing, and already noticed it's a little bit more responsive on the throttle. So glad they were able to pinpoint those issues. It did seem, kind of a little bit ridiculously loud to me, which I thought was kind of cool, but it turns out it's just there's a problem with the exhaust. So we'll get that all fixed up. If that's really all I have to do for this age of a car, like I think I consider that pretty minor. If you're wondering, what's the price to have a Porsche dealership service a 2006 Boxster? Now keep in mind this is kind of a full service and inspection, just because me getting a car and driving it on busy Kansas City roads and highways and stuff, I want to make sure it's safe to drive first of all, and second off, we're keeping up with all of the maintenance, so this thing keeps running well for years to come. The price of this service was $1,600. So yes, pretty pricey, but I think the peace of mind of having a dealership go through the car and say it's for the most part good, and kind of fixing the last couple things that need fixed to say, hey, this is a safe car, you can drive it without worrying about it, and you're kind of covering your bases there. So yeah, for me, for a car that I got for almost nothing, I totally worth it just to get it through the service, and just make sure this just kind of has everything it needs. That way there's not any safety issues as I'm driving. But guys, the manual feels so good. It's it being a little bit older car, it's not difficult to shift, but you do have to put a little bit of oomph into it just to kind of push it into the slot, and I really like how it feels. Now, as you would guess, this compared to that Macan that I had for a loaner is night and day difference. The Macan is, don't get me wrong, it's super comfortable. At the dealership, they're asking me, they're like, it's pretty zippy, isn't it? I was like, I just kind of said, yeah, sure, but not really. I mean, I didn't get that from it. It was very comfortable, but if you're wanting something to drive for fun, engagement, this feels, I can get why people like the old Porsches, because you feel a connection to the road, you feel a connection to the car. These things just have a little bit more soul to them than I would say modern cars do. Don't get me wrong, all the tech, all the safety features, all that stuff is awesome on the new cars, but you can't replicate this feel of something kind of from this time frame by new standards. The service advisor I had was great. He texted me through the whole thing to kind of keep me updated on what was going on. They took their time, and yesterday they had said that they thought it would be done by the end of day, but they, I guess, I got a little bit behind and took their time to do this service thoroughly. So I appreciate that. So yeah, I got the text today to come pick it up, and the service was great. So great experience so far with my first week here of Porsche ownership. All right, so we've been stuck here in traffic for a bit. I can get on the highway and actually have a little fun with this thing. Alright guys, well that's going to wrap things up for today's video. Appreciate you guys tagging along with me, and I'll catch you in the next one.